Thank you, Madam Speaker. Everywhere I go, people come up to me and say, you know, we're losing faith in the Liberal Party. People are finding it very difficult. I've had people tell me they can't afford to buy groceries, they can't afford to heat their homes, and that is hard to hear from especially seniors who live alone. And tell me that they go around the house in the spring and winter time with a blanket wrapped around them because they can't afford the home heating fuel and they can't afford to buy beef or chicken. I mean, that's heart-wrenching when you hear someone say that to you. This is a quote from the lone Liberal member who was brave enough to vote for his constituents instead of this high inflationary Prime Minister. Madam Speaker, these are the same sentiments I hear day after day as I tour the country hearing from seniors. Last week I had the opportunity to spend time with a group of seniors from the Northumberland, Peterborough South area. Their concerns mirror the same concerns as our friends from the Atlantic coast. Madam Speaker, I will be sharing my time with one of my favorite MPs from Calgary, Fort Lawn. After 8 years of this Liberal government, this Prime Minister has added more to the national debt than all previous Prime Ministers combined. $500 billion of inflationary deficits has directly led to a 40-year inflation highs. Let me repeat that, $500 billion. Prior to Budget 2023, the Minister of Finance said, and I quote, "What Canadians want right now is for inflation to come down and for interest rates to fall. And that is one of our primary goals in this year's budget, not to pour fuel on the fire of inflation." And then she proceeded to usher in $60 billion of new spending. In order to combat inflation, the Bank of Canada has been forced to increase interest rates 10 times in just 19 months. These rate increases have increased mortgage payments. Since the Prime Minister took office, monthly mortgage payments have increased 150%, and now cost $3,500 on a typical family home. Madam Speaker, I want my colleagues in this place to think about a few statistics I found out on the Nesco Mortgage Company website. In the City of Toronto, as of 2021, the average house price was just over $1 million. Payments required to purchase this home, down payment required to purchase this home was just in excess of $232,000. It would take an average person 42.2 years to save for the down payment. To make a comparison, it took roughly 4.2 years to save up for the minimum down payment on a home in Toronto 10 years ago, when our country enjoyed a Conservative government. In Vancouver, a similar situation, the average cost of a home is just in excess of $1.2 million, with a minimum down payment of $242,000. Time to save for a down payment in Vancouver is 44.3 years. Just 10 years ago, it took an average of only 5.2 years to afford the minimum payment for a home in Vancouver. On June 5th of this year, CTV News Toronto reported from National Bank of Canada releasing its housing affordability report that it will take Torontonians about 25 years to save for a down payment on a house, and the qualifying income level to purchase the property is in excess of $236,000. Madam Speaker, does the average Canadian earn $236,000? I don't think so. If this doesn't make it clear, this Prime Minister just isn't worth the cost. Think about it. According to the TransUnion, the average credit card balance for Canadians in the second quarter of 2023 was $4,185, up from $3,909 in the second quarter. And it is up on average from a monthly credit card spending of almost $2,447,000 in the quarter of 2022, which is above the 17.3% from the same time in 2021 and up 21.8% in 2019. And from another report, Canadian consumer debt has risen to $2.4 trillion, with an average debt load of approximately $21,131, excluding mortgage payments. Canadians are using credit cards more, as there was a 9% increase in credit card balances in June of 2023 compared to the same time last year. These trends are a repeat of the past. Let's reflect on the 1980s, when the lending rate for a 5-year fixed mortgage rate was 22.75%. This caused homeowners with mortgages to struggle with high interest payments, resulting in foreclosures. Let's do some comparison. In 1981, the average price of a home was $110,000. At an interest rate of 22.75%, the monthly payment was just under $2,000. Today, the average price of a home in Toronto is $1.2 million. At an interest rate of 7%, your mortgage payment is $6,724. What was the similarities during these two periods? Can anyone guess? Both Prime Ministers shared the same last name. In my previous life as a bank manager and mortgage specialist, I witnessed the hardship of many Canadians, friends, and neighbours who lost their homes to the inflationary, out-of-control spending by the Trudeau Liberal government.
Oh, I believe the honourable member mentioned the name of the Prime Minister, so I would just want to make sure.
I did, but that was he not the Prime Minister? I apologize. I thought it was Pierre Trudeau. That's who I'm speaking about.
Okay. So we'll just get some. Yeah, appreciate the clarification. The honourable member for King Vaughan.
Thank you very much. History continues to repeat itself today as we see Liberal-NDP governments force the Bank of Canada to raise interest rates due to their out-of-control spending habits. This Liberal Prime Minister is just not worth the cost. The Liberal-NDP government must exercise fiscal discipline and their inflationary driving deficits so that interest rates can be lowered. In order to avoid mortgage default crisis as warned by the International Monetary Fund and to ensure Canadians do not lose their homes, the government must introduce a fiscal plan that includes pathway to balanced budgets in order to decrease inflation and interest rates. Alternatively, they need to get out of the way so that Conservatives and our Conservative leader can fix what they have broken and bring hope back to Canadians. Thank you, Madam Speaker.